Good morning. Today we are spending some time at the Qantas Founders Museum precinct. So we've got the museum behind me, the original Qantas hangar, and some planes on show. So come with me as I take a look through, and we're even going to do a walk on the wing of the Boeing 747. The Qantas Founders Museum is perfect for that aviation-loving person in your life. There is plenty of memorabilia, lots to see and do, there's interactive exhibits, there's a flight simulator, plenty for anyone to occupy their time here in Longreach. I'm an absolute history buff when it comes to holidaying, so I loved learning all about the history of Qantas and flying itself, and being able to see all of these amazing exhibits really took me back in time. Alright, now we're going to step inside a replica of the DH-61, which was actually the very first aircraft to have a toilet on board. Oh, so nice and cozy. Not a lot of room in here. And there's the toilet. So the company that made this plane sold it as an 8-seat aircraft, but when Qantas added the toilet in there, they basically made it into a 7-seater. So I'm an average size human being. She be squishy. After we spent a bit of time walking around the museum and the hangar, we headed out to the air park where they have these beautiful aircraft on show. Now, this isn't included in the standard museum ticket. You do have to have an extra ticket included for this one, but it is definitely well worth being able to get up close and personal with these beasts. The two smaller aircraft were a Catalina and a DC-3, but we actually got to step on board the Super Constellation, the Boeing 707, and the Boeing 747, of course. Now, it's pretty obvious walking through the Super Constellation that it was completely gutted out and essentially used as a museum piece. But the Boeing 707 used to be owned by the Saudi Arabian Prince Bandar, and Qantas have left it exactly how he kitted it out back in the 90s and 80s. So this is definitely a little piece of history, and who wouldn't love to fly in a plane like this? Much better than economy, let me tell you. The Boeing 747 is probably one of the most recognisable aircraft in the entire world, with that little half-top deck up the top there. I've only flown on one in my entire life, and that was back in 1998. So the decor was probably pretty much exactly the same as what we're looking at now, except maybe some bigger TVs. We are currently in the upper deck of the Boeing 747. Just waiting for another group to finish their tour of the flight deck. Now, this actually once housed the Captain Cook Lounge, which was actually decked out with ropes, pictures of James Cook, and replica lanterns to make it look like a sailing ship rather than a brand new aircraft. So we're all harnessed up for the wing walk, just waiting for the other group to go first, and then the three of us will go out. Now, you don't get to walk the entire length of the wing because that would be unsafe, but this was definitely a unique experience, and I would recommend doing it, especially if you're trekking all the way out here to Longreach. It's something that you'll probably never do again in your life, so why not do it here? After all that heat and walking around, we decided that that was it for us for the day. We just headed back to the hotel, chilled in the pool, had some snacks, played some games, and we were done. Good morning and welcome to another beautiful day here in Longreach. We're doing a bit more of a touristy vibe today, heading on 2 tours with Outback Pioneers, who are the major tourist provider here in Longreach. We're doing a Cobb & Co stagecoach experience this morning. And then this afternoon we'll be heading off on a sunset dinner cruise. So I'm going to take you along with me to experience all the Outback has to offer the tourists. Now, of course, this isn't an Australian experience, so what do we do first? We eat. They started off with some scones with fresh cream and jam with some tea and coffee, because why not? Then we were off on our stagecoach adventure. After we were loaded up in the stagecoach, we headed on a little tiki tour around town to see a bit of Longreach, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how I would manage not being able to get to work on time because a stagecoach pulled out in front of my car, but I digress. After that, we headed out onto the dirt and really felt the tour in our spines. I don't know how people did this every day. I don't know how the tour guides do this every day, but they've probably got a bit more lumbar support up the top there. And then we headed back to the station where we met some of the stars of our next tour experience, learning all about sheepdog herding. Now, of course, you'll agree with me, these doggos earned every treato they got. They taught us all about herding and even gave us a little demonstration. And their owner actually taught us all about the history of their breeds. And I'm not gonna lie, I have a so-called Australian Shepherd at home. I say so-called because he couldn't herd a thing if he tried. But he would definitely not last out here. He's too much of a buff. But after that, we met the stars of the show, watched a Australian film, and then we actually were all done for the day. So we headed back to the hotel, had a bit of a shower and a freshen up to get ready for our next tour. Welcome to the Thompson River. So we are having a beautiful cruise down the river this evening to enjoy the sunset. Then later on tonight, we'll be having a 2-course meal around the fire, some damper, some nice classic Australian entertainment apparently. Don't know what that is yet, but we'll find out. So while we wait, enjoy the view. Our day with Outback Pioneers was definitely one of the more memorable days of our entire trip, and I would of course recommend booking in these tours to anybody who's travelling all the way out to Longreach, because it's a long way to go and you want to experience as much as you absolutely can. This sunset cruise was beautiful and a perfect way to close our time in Longreach. After we were back on shore, we had our dinner, which was freshly cooked for us. We had a stew, followed up by this apple pie, and of course, damper that was made right in front of us while we ate our dinner, so you know that is fresh. After dinner, they told us some fun stories called yarns, and then we watched a movie, and we were headed back to the hotel to close out our last night in Longreach. Today we leave Longreach behind. We'll be heading out to Charters Towers, which is the longest drive of our whole trip. But on the way, we'll actually be doing a stop in at Winton to see some dinosaurs. So join us along for that. It is going to be a long day, but we got this. We are now at the Australian age of the dinosaurs in Winton, so we're going to spend the next few hours being attacked by flies, seeing fossils, dinosaur stuff, and it's 37 degrees, so the flies are fierce. Let's go look at some dinosaurs. Australian Age of the Dinosaurs is based on a huge complex out here in Winton, and it took us several hours to explore everything. In the heat, mind you. We got to see real fossils, replicas, recreations of dinosaurs that actually used to live in this area, and we even got to see people recovering these fossils from the ground in real time because they are constantly discovering new and amazing things in this place. If you're ever planning to do this Outback Queensland trip yourself, do it in winter, because averaging 37-degree days with blistering heat is not fun. I would not recommend doing this any later because a lot of attractions either shut early or are not open due to the heat. They go into their summer trading hours. So just make sure you keep an eye on that and those kinds of things when you start planning your trip. We are currently on our way from Longreach / Winton to our next stop of Charters Towers. It is currently 41 degrees outside, so we are very happy that we are in this very nice chilled box of 22 degrees. and currently driving on a incredibly straight road for the next 200 kilometers. So there's not a lot going on out here at all. There's no towns on this road, we don't think. There's not even any roadkill, so the animals don't want to come out here. It's a whole lot of nothing. My goodness. After a massive day of driving, we were more than happy to hit the heads on the pillow and go straight to sleep when we arrived in Charters Towers, because the next part of our trip is going coastal. We'll see you then.